Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Dan, and this is Forlorn Hobbies. Welcome to episode 6 of Quick and Easy Painting. In this episode, we will be focusing on the brave Confederates of the American Civil War. Now, this paint scheme is obviously for beginners, or people that are just wanting to get their models straight and on the tabletop quite quickly and easy, hence the series name. However, I thought I would use this paint scheme as a example of my thought process for my upcoming American Civil War project, which will be out after I have finished my Russian project for Eagles Under Glory 2 event. So hopefully I can really get some groundwork done for this project using this method and have my force finished kind of towards the second half of next year. So without any more distractions, let's get on with the video. Here's the list of paints that I will be using in this video. As usual, the paints will all be Citadel unless otherwise stated. However, there are many conversion charts available online if you prefer to paint with a different paint brand. I started by undercoating these miniatures with standard grey from Colourforge. I'm not sure if Colourforge is available overseas, but it is a great UK brand and range of rattle cans. I'm also going to be multi-basing these particular models, so I am just going to blue tack these models to random bases that I have lying around. First of all, just to add a little bit more definition to the grey undercoat, I am going to take Dawnstone and give quite a heavy dry brush over the entire miniature, just to kind of pop some of those folds and recesses on the plain looking clothing of the Confederates. The second paint that I will use is Dryad Bark. Now I will use this to paint the muskets, the leather straps and boots, and pretty much anything that is going to be a leather base. Just to kind of break up the model, I want to have kind of dark and earthy tones, just to make it a lot easier to touch up if I need to later on. Now obviously we want to be as neat as we can with this, however the grey will be touched up at the final step before the wash, so we don't need to worry too much about correcting ourselves as we go along. Now we're going to start blocking out some of the other colours on the model. So first of all, I'm going to take Zandri Dust to paint the kind of padded roll that some of the models have going across their torsos. And we're just going to try and keep this very neat, but again, don't worry too much about getting it on the grey because we will be touching that up later on. I'm then going to take Baneblade Brown to paint the hair and the moustaches on the model. Now, if the model has a kind of padded roll on it, then I will leave it there. However, if it does not have the big kind of chunky roll across it, I will then also paint the trousers in a Baneblade Brown as well, just to give a bit of variation and kind of raggedy look throughout the unit that I will be painting. And just to add a little bit more subtle contrast, where a model has a sackcloth bag or like knapsack, I'm just going to apply a grey sear to kind of give it a dirty, whitish look that kind of blends in nicely with the greys and the browns, but doesn't make it too vibrant so that it stands out. Now, this may not be historically accurate, but I want this kind of army to have a kind of thrown together look, so this is what I'm going for. Now we're going to apply Bugman's Glow to all the skin areas, and we're just going to take good care just to kind of avoid any hair that we've already painted. Now we can always swap this stage around so that we do the skin before we do the hair, but I like to get the brown colours on first, so as I was painting the trousers, I'll do the hair at the same time, just to save a little bit of time. Then we're going to take Wraithbone to paint the undershirts of the uniforms, as well as the musket or rifle straps, just to kind of make them stand out a little bit more. Finally, we're going to paint the metallic areas. Now this will include buttons, the gun barrels, the bayonet, and the kind of banding on the, I want to say, kepi caps, just to kind of tie everything together overall. And this is the stage that we're going to take the most care at, just to avoid that kind of metallicness getting onto any other areas. And then we're just going to quickly use Dawnstone to tidy up any kind of areas on the grey that need correcting, and just to neaten up the model, getting it ready for a wash. Now we're going to apply Agrat's Earthshade over the entire miniature. Now we can be quite liberal with this covering, but just keep an eye out for pooling, and if necessary, get a tissue and then a clean brush just to remove the paint and then dap it onto the tissue before returning to take off some more excess paint. Now at this stage the model is essentially tabletop ready and done, but because I'm going to be using this for my own personal collection and a force, I'm going to add in a few further stages just to add a little bit more pop and definition to the model. So I'm going to take Bugman's Glow again, just to revisit the skin areas, just to add a little bit of layering up, just to start to build up that kind of pale but rugged complexion on the model. To build on that initial layer, I'm then going to have a more defined highlight of Cadian flesh tone, just kind of bringing it in and focusing more on those raised edges, just to emphasize the recesses and the folds and joins in the hands, etc. Finally, I'm going to do a final highlight of the skin with Kislev flesh. Now this is just to really blend all those layers together. Quite a thin highlight on the most extreme surfaces of the model, such as the nose, the cheekbones, the chin if necessary, the ears, just to kind of really emphasize the facial structure on the Mini. Moving on to the brown areas on the miniature, I will use Gawthor Brown to highlight the weaponry itself, as well as picking out the odd bit of leather on the model, just to create a little bit more distinction between pouches and straps, etc. I'm going to take Carrick Stone to dry brush carefully the lighter brown and tan areas on the model. Depending on which sculpt that you are going for, this will either be the trousers or the padded roll, where you have painted them a much lighter Xandri Dust or Banebraid Brown. Now this dry brush will just enhance the recesses and add a little bit more definition to those areas. And with that, the model is done, so we need to get it ready for basing. To do this, I just peel off the blue tack and the spare base before putting the superglue prepared on each place where I want the miniatures. Now it's quite useful to dry fit here beforehand so you know where to put the glue, and then just quickly line them all up so that the glue is still wet enough that you can just slightly tweak and reposition where necessary. Now, I want a quick and easy basing method for this project, so I have decided to go with Patchy Planes by Geek Gaming with their ready mix range. So I will start by applying the fast drying basing glue to the base, trying to just take care of getting in between the models on a multi-base. This is worth taking a little bit of time just to avoid getting it all up the trousers and whatnot, just to get a better end result before dipping the model in the base ready mix itself, shaking it off, and then just making sure that it's got a good coverage and sprinkling in any necessary kind of filling areas where necessary. Once that's dry, I'll then seal it with matte scenic sealant just to give it a tough bonding with the base and a good seal so that it should hold up to plenty of gameplay with no problem. And with that, the first base of Confederates is complete, and this is the end result. As always, I hope that you've enjoyed this, and you can see that it's quite a quick and easy method to get a rugged, worn-looking Confederate uniform kind of scheme, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next one. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Until next time, enjoy your hobby.